So, you recently finished studying for your degree, you finally have that title next to your name, and you're so flippin' excited to earn your first salary. You feel confident about life, you believe you are an adult now, and just as you enter the real world, you get clapped silly by life and all of its money traps. You thought school prepared you for this? My sweet, sweet, innocent summer child. You've got so much to learn. Hey guys, my name is Peter. I'm a veterinarian who likes to talk about money. There's a famous saying that goes something like this. In school, you had to learn before being tested. In real life, you get tested and then you learn from it. And this couldn't be more true for someone who either recently graduated university and is about to start with their career, or someone who went into the workforce directly just after high school. Doesn't matter which one you are, chances are you are not adequately prepared for life. I wasn't, and no one that I personally know was. I am now at the ripe old age of 26 years, and you can bet that I made many simple financial mistakes and fell for many stupid financial traps during my long working career. So in today's video, I want to share my age-old wisdom of everything that I learned in my 20s when it comes to money, give you a step-by-step guide on where you should start and what you should focus on, and explain why each step is so important. There are many of these types of videos on YouTube, but I couldn't find one that actually helps South Africans, as most of these are mostly focused on the US audience. I mean, what the is a Roth IRA or HSA even? So, if you are in your 20s or even your 30s and you have no idea how to manage your finances, or you may already know a bit but would like to sharpen your knowledge, then I can promise you that this 15-minute video will change your life. Or it won't. It's 50-50. Works half the time, every time. Step 1. Make sure that you are properly insured. This is almost never talked about in these financial steps to success videos. And I can't overstate the importance of being properly insured. I know paying for insurance sucks and it does drain a hole in your pocket every single month. But I don't care which types of products you take out where, as long as you are insured for the right things. And I will probably make a whole series of videos on insurance topics in the future, as there are many different options available. But if you are still young and you don't really have any dependents, then all you really need now is income protection cover and car insurance if you own a car. Your greatest asset when you are young is your ability to earn an income. So if something dreadful should happen to you, leaving you incapacitated to work, then you could end up in severe financial trouble and will most likely become someone else's financial burden. More often than not, our incompetent government. Income protection insures you for a certain amount every month, which will make sure you continue to earn an income until you reach the age of 65, even if you are too ill or injured to work. Also, being in a car accident can actually also cripple you financially, especially if it was your fault and you are liable for the other person's expenses. So paying for car insurance is a small price that can pay back big time in the future should you ever need it. Alright, so the next step is to track your expenses. You thought I was going to say set up a budget, didn't you? Well, how can you set up a budget without having any idea of what you already spent? This is why people hate budgeting, because they often set unrealistic goals of how much they should spend on each category based on some generalized rule that they found on the internet. What is more valuable is to first see what you actually spend already, as this will give you a baseline to work from in order to gain control of your finances. And I get it. It is scary to do this. I recently spent 3 whole days to track all my expenses the past 2 years, and I was thoroughly shocked to see where I was spending some of my money on. This claps you out of your fantasy where you believe that you are doing okay and brings you back to the harsh reality that you are actually being sucked into consumerism. I know this can be tedious and actually frack scary to do for some of us, but this really is the foundational block on which you will build your wealth. So log into your banking app, download the bank statements from the past 3 months, type them down on an Excel spreadsheet or write them down on a piece of paper and categorize them according to these categories. Then add each month's category together and divide it by 3 to get the average monthly spent. If you are shocked to see some of these numbers, like I was, then this is a good time to move to step 3. Live below your means. How much you can save and invest every month is relative to what you earn and what you spend. YouTube is flooded with clickbait videos where people claim that they save 80, 90 or even 99% of their income. And although this might be true for some of them, and if that is the case, then I absolutely applaud them, this actually discourages many of us who can barely save anything. It is much easier to save 90% of your income if you earn more than 1 million rand per month than it is if you only earn 10,000 rand per month. But the principle behind it remains relevant to everyone. Spend less than what you earn and save and invest the difference. Impossible! No, it is not. You just need to find ways to slice off some rands at each category you spend money on, and you'd be quite surprised to see how much extra cash you can free up when being more intentional on where and how you spend your money. If you are looking for some ideas on how to save money on various aspects of your life, then make sure to go check out this playlist I made after this video. So now that you have some extra money left over at the end of the month to save, it is time to move on to step 4. Pay off your debt. If you went to university, you recently bought a car, or you had some sort of massive financial emergency that forced you to take out a personal loan, chances are that you have some form of debt. Now, debt in general is not lacquer to have, as it can easily spiral out of control and keep you from building true wealth. We basically get 2 types of debt. Bad debt, which are things like personal loans, car loans, credit card debt, store card debt, and overdraft facilities. All of these have very high interest rates that will gnaw away at your financial health. But then we also get what is considered to be good debt. These are things like home loans or even student and business loans. The reason why these are seen as a better form of debt is firstly, because the interest rates are relatively low, and secondly, because you are buying an asset with the money borrowed that will hopefully grow and pay you back in the future. A house, for example, is a lifestyle asset in which you can one day retire after paying it off and therefore won't have to worry about rental expenses. Home loans can also be used to buy rental properties that you can rent out every month, thereby building multiple streams of income. A student or business loan is not a physical asset you buy, but more a set of skills or opportunities like a degree or business venture that will hopefully pay off in the future in the form of a decent salary. So conventional wisdom tells us that you need to pay off your bad debt first. So in a South African setting where the prime interest rate is currently around 7.5%, I would consider bad debt as anything with an interest rate above 9%. Why? Because on average, the stock market returned about 10% per year in the past. So when deciding on if you should focus on paying off debt first or invest first, simply look at which one will yield the highest returns. Paying off credit card debt with an interest rate of 17% is a no-brainer, as that will give you a guaranteed effective return of 17% on your investment. When it becomes tricky is where the interest rates on the debt are lower, as with home and student loans, in which case I would probably split my savings halfway between paying off debt and investing. So before even thinking about starting to invest, Pay off all your debt that has an interest rate above 9% and then move on to step number 5. Build an emergency fund. Having a proper emergency fund in place is the most important financial pillar, second only to tracking your expenses every month, in my opinion. If you are young without any dependents, then 1 month's worth of expenses saved up should be okay. But you should ideally aim for more about like 3 months worth of expenses. This will ensure that if you have any financial emergency in the future, you have some sort of buffer to cushion the blow and thus prevent you from taking out horrendous personal loans or credit card debt. Your emergency fund should be accessible within 24 hours notice and you should not be paying any fees on it. Your main objective with an emergency fund is not to see how much it can grow in interest, but rather to have a guaranteed return of all your capital and to have instant access to it. So open a simple savings account with your bank, fill it up until you reach at least 1 month's worth of living expenses, and then move on to step number 6. Invest in a tax-free savings account. Yes, yes, yes! We finally get to the good stuff. A tax-free savings account is hands down the best investment product available for South Africans. All your investments inside a tax-free savings account grows tax-free, as the name suggests, meaning you won't have to pay any capital gains tax, dividend withholding tax, or interest tax. Furthermore, anything you withdraw from your tax-free savings account one day will also be completely tax-free. But contrary to its name, this should not be used as a savings account, but rather as an investment account. The true benefit of these tax savings is only really realized after a couple of decades. So a tax-free savings account should be left to grow until you reach retirement. You can put up to 36,000 Rand per year into a tax-free savings account with a lifetime contribution limit of 500,000 Rand. You want to pay the least amount of fees on a tax-free savings account and you want to go as aggressive as possible with the asset allocation inside the tax-free savings account if you are still young, as you will get the most tax benefit from shares and listed property, and seeing that you will have decades to go before you will need the money, you can afford to take on these higher risk, higher return assets. On that note, I heard there is a very handsome guy on YouTube that has many videos on personal finances, so if you want to learn more and educate yourself on investing and just how to manage your money in general, then make sure you go subscribe to his channel. No, I'm talking about myself, not Graham. He already has enough subscribers. Where's my million? But seriously guys, if you found this video to be helpful so far, then please clap the roke out of that like button so that it turns blue from a concussion. This really does help out my channel a lot, as it helps motivate the YouTube algorithm to push out this video to more people, which will hopefully help more South Africans on the path to financial success. Kia leboa. Anyway, back to the video. If you are able to max out your tax-free savings account, which will be on average around 3,000 Rand per month, and you still have money left over, my next step would be to grow my emergency fund to 6 months worth of living expenses. This will just add some extra security to your financial health and will give you a peace of mind that you should be okay should you lose your job and need to find a new one, or if there is a family emergency, that you will be able to help if necessary without compromising your own financial well-being. If you've reached this point, then you are well on your way to financial success, but you might just not have enough to retire from yet. So next would be to focus on your retirement. After a tax-free savings account, a retirement annuity is the next most powerful investment vehicle for retirement. You can contribute up to 27.5% of your gross salary, or a maximum of 350,000 Rand per year, to your RA. All the money that you contribute is tax deductible, meaning you will pay fewer taxes, which will free up more money that can be pumped back into your investments. Aside from this, all your investments inside your RA will also grow tax-free. Your RA investments do not form part of your estate, so you won't have to pay any estate duty tax, and your RA investments are protected from your creditors. There are also a couple of drawbacks to using RAs, and if you would want to see a detailed breakdown, then go check out this video over here. But in my opinion, if you are in the 31% marginal tax bracket or anything above it, then it will make sense from a financial standpoint to invest in an RA. If you can max out the 27.5%, then good for you. But for most of us mere mortals, this is way too much money. So after filling up my tax-free savings account and maintaining a healthy emergency fund, I will split the remainder of my investable funds halfway between RA and direct offshore investments. There is a risk of keeping all your money in South African rands, and that risk is evident with the current unstable political and economical environment we find ourselves in. One of the most important cornerstones of a good financial strategy is diversification. So even after you are well diversified between all your asset classes, I believe it is also important to diversify away from the rand towards the US dollar to act as a hedge against a falling rand. If you want to learn more about how you can invest in the offshore markets as a South African, then go check out this video. And that is it, guys. Just rinse and repeat these 9 steps and you will be well off to retire comfortably. Each one of these steps is a building block for the next one. So it is important to try and go through them one by one, so that you can eventually build a strong financial empire on top of a solid financial foundation. Now, as you start to earn more and you get more responsibilities, it would make sense to adjust things like your insurance cover and your emergency fund. But one thing that remains critical to long-term success is to never forget about step 3, which is to live below your means. Don't let consumerism consume you. Keep your eye fixed on the end goal and pay yourself first every month by making sure you put something away towards your retirement. Lekker!